Yep, thank you. You started the recording. And I will call this meeting to order at 10:02. I just said it, so I'm not going to remind everybody to sign in again. So we can go right to the CenturyLink / Lumen System performance reports.
Awesome. I know we have a lot of stuff on the agenda today, so I think I can go through this one pretty quickly. Looking at the Splunk data from January, I mean, across the board, we came within tariff requirements. So this first one, as we all know, shows the network performance. We just keep pinging the server until we get through, and we didn't have anything fall outside of the requirements for the tariff. The next one, we go by PSAP. This is our voice quality. As a reminder, a 1 or a 2 is bad. We like to see everything above the 4, which all of them are right at or just above 4 for the month on here. Again, keeps us within the requirements of the tariff. The next one, this is by the ECMC route. So we're showing both Denver and Miami. Again, per the tariff, this number needs to be 4 or higher. And across the board for the month, that is where we hit. We look at the next one, packet loss percentage. For the tariff, this is less or equal to 0.5. And we had that because the 0.5 isn't showing up on our graph. So good month for January as far as packet loss percentage. And then I think our last one that we do is jitter. Everyone, I think, on the call is aware. The tariff is based on milliseconds, but the graph that we have, we need to pull by microseconds. Otherwise, we wouldn't have anything showing up for either the Denver or the Miami routes. So again, within the range of the tariff for jitter. Nothing exciting.
Good. Sounds good. Thank you, Tracy. Anybody have any questions? All right. Now we go on to the issue tracker.
Awesome. And I did have one item I was going to add to this, Kathy. It came across right after I sent this to you. It's going to be the Alley node migration that we'll be working with Intrado on. And I was going to see if Andrew had joined. He can give you guys kind of a high level as to what this is all about. I think he's on. Let me check. Maybe not. So I think this is kind of a standard thing. And Andrew is working with Intrado. We have provided Kim and her crew with a list of the PSAPs and the contacts that we have. What's going to happen is starting the week February 24th, you guys will be receiving notification that Intrado would like to make a couple test calls. I think the plan is 30 minutes or less just to make these test calls. No one needs to come on site. As I understand it, everything is done kind of remotely with Intrado. And if Andrew hops on, we can certainly get some more information on that. Or if you guys have additional questions, feel free to ask them and I'll take them back to Intrado as well. And again, that came up right after I sent this to you guys. So I apologize for not getting it added in time.
That's okay. Jennifer, go ahead.
Thanks, Tracy. Can you just re-explain what exactly that work is? I heard you say that something about the Alley node, but I wasn't quite clear.
Yeah, let me, is Kim Haig on by chance with Intrado?
I don't see Kim. I see Cindy Berry.
Yeah, but I don't see. Let me see if I have anything else here. Like I said, I got this about 30 minutes ago. And it was going to be worked with Andrew. Cindy, have you done it before?
Sorry, which one?
Let me bring it up here. So the Colorado PSAPs are going to move over to the Lumen Central Alley node. So it's just a matter of moving to the new Alley node, and it's 100% Intrado doing the work and the move and the testing, but I don't have any other details as to what that project is. So that
Kim
would
Haig
usually
is
be
joining
Jay would be
now.
doing it in the background,
Okay.
moving ports. We can check with Kim. Kim Haig, you're here. Hey, Kim, I just brought up the conversation we had about 20 minutes ago with Andrew on the Alley Node project that we'd like to kick off the week of February 24th.
Okay, thank you.
And for some reason, I don't have Andrew on yet. I think he got held up on another call. Do you have like a high level explanation as to what that is?
Yeah, certainly. So we're moving all of the PSAPs in all of our states over to what we call our Lumen Central Alley node. It's new, updated equipment on our side. And for the PSAPs, it's very simple on your side. We will be calling you, asking you to make a couple of 911 test calls prior to us doing any work on the alley links. And that's just to ensure that everything is working the way it's supposed to be before we make any changes. We'll ask you to make a wireline and a wireless test call, and just to make sure everything's working accurately, like I just stated. And then our team at Entrado, this is all done remotely, will make a change on one of your alley links, and that will ensure that you're never without alley when we do our work. And their changes take approximately 10 minutes. Then we'll have you make one test call just to ensure everything is still working correctly. And then we'll make this change on our second alley link. We'll have you make another test call and we're done. We usually schedule the PSAPs for about a half an hour just to make sure that we have the time to do our work, and also keep in mind that we're very cognizant of that we're calling a PSAP. So we're very cognizant. If you're busy with 911 calls, we'll just sit and wait on hold. There's no pressure. And then when your PSAP can make a couple of test calls for us, then we proceed with our work. We will never impose on you if you're having an urgent issue going on that's going to take a while. And then we may just put your PSAP on hold for a day or two and go on with our next PSAP. So we never interrupt your critical work on your side. So that's basically a high level. Are there any questions or concerns that you have for me?
Joe, go ahead.
Do you do this during the workday, or you do this overnight? What time do you do it?
No, we do this Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central Time. And so for the state of Colorado, it would take us approximately 3 weeks, because we would do about 10 a day, give or take.
Thanks, Kim.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and is there like a schedule that's going to be sent out?
Yeah, I believe Andrew's working on that.
Okay.
And then, yeah, he'll send that spreadsheet out. And then there'll be the contacts on there. So when you receive that spreadsheet, then just validate the contact is accurate for me. So when I give your PSAP a call, I'm calling the right person or the right team.
Right. I think Andrew is definitely working on that list this week, you guys. He didn't want to just send it out prior to the meeting because he didn't want everyone to wonder what it was for. So this was the heads up that it's coming, and then Andrew will be sending that out.
And Andrew just joined.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the toughest time joining with the other link.
So we
Yeah.
just kind of finished with the Alley project. Kim gave everybody an update and a heads
Okay.
up that you were going to be sending an email.
Yeah, I'll get that email out this week, and yeah, they'll work on scheduling with everyone, and yeah, just let us know if there's any questions.
Sounds good. Thanks. Any other questions before we move on? Okay.
Also, I followed up after sending this out with Andrew on Pueblo, and I believe he and Shauna had talked about it, and this had been taken care of and can be closed unless something has changed, Andrew, in the last hour. I think that's probably good. The robocalls, I know update from Andrew is that we did provide some numbers that we could get for these non-dialable PSAPs. And we are continuing to get examples from the PSAPs and work with the Intrado or with the Lumen NOC. There has not been a resolution on this one. It's just a continued investigation. Line 5 here, we are keeping ECATs on. We did the majority of the implementation in 2024, but we do still have a few PSAPs out there that are trickling in. As a PSAP is ready, they're reaching out to myself as well as Kayla at Intrado. We're getting our DDMs installed and the techs out there. I know there are a few of you waiting for new equipment, and that's fine. You know, we're just going to keep track of it. The goal now would be just by the end of the year, as you guys are ready, we have everybody on board ready to help you with that one. The next one we have here is we know about the move to the new building up in Larimer. I know Kimberly had some additional questions on circuits. I have to take a peek and see if there's anyone on my side that joined that can help with this. What I do know is the Lumen circuit's installed and ready to activate next week, but I haven't heard back on the second circuit. So I am still hoping to hear from that, from my team today, unless there's someone from Lumen on this call that has a better update. Sounds like that would be a no. What do we have next? Pitkin and Vale. I know I've heard from Brett a couple of times, and I apologize, I was not on the call last month, but I believe that you guys are still waiting for information on an ELAN opportunity or option for this location. I don't know if that has been provided to the PSAP at this time. That's just the latest I have heard. And I don't know if Brett's on.
That's correct, Casey. We're still waiting to hear back from Lumen about the ELAN.
And I know Jeff is traveling today, so he wasn't going to be on this call. I can add that to our meeting with him internally.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Last place that we left off on that was we just needed to know that it was not the same routing or hardware in the CO as our Mo equipment. And so that was the question we had pending out there, was we wanted to validate that we weren't going to get the same results that we currently have, and that there was some difference in that pathway or equipment at the COs.
Okay.
And then, of course, the quote and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. 911 transfer capability. This one is sort of ongoing. We do have a member of Cindy Berry's team, well, the PMO team, that is kind of working on this at a national level, because Colorado is not the only state, as you can imagine, interested in being able to transfer calls across state line. So they are gathering some information on that. I think our plan is to start off with, we'll have kind of a generic amendment or SAO in place that we can customize per state. But rather than tackle this on a state-by-state basis, we've got a group of folks looking at it so that we can do this nationwide. So I'm going to leave it on here. I think as they get further down the road, they can bring in the individual states, and then we'll have more to talk about. This one, I know back in December, we talked about this a little bit, Brett, where you weren't getting ECATS data. But again, I didn't see an update on it, so I didn't want to take this off the list. I know Rich Johnson, it looks like, was going to try to look into it, and I don't know if that was still an issue or not.
Yeah, the concern what we have is we don't know if the ECATS in Pitkin counties had the configuration and setup completed. As with the geodiverse, the Site A is feeding right now out of Vail for our information. And the question was, if we were to roll to B, whether the Pitkin County ECAT server would pick up. And so that's kind of what was the pending question out there. Was that ever completed? Because we never got any feedback back on that process. And so they had reached out after our last meeting, but it hasn't gone anywhere from there. I think we were looking at potentially just coordinating a test where we're going to fail over our phone system to our side B and have them watch to see if we continue to see call flow.
Yeah, Jeremy, that was the last I knew too. I apologize, but I thought, I was out there to kind of hook you guys up with ECATs, and I haven't followed it. I haven't followed up on it. So I can get back on that email string and kind of push to see where we are with that.
Perfect, thank you. We just want to make sure that if for some reason we fail over, that we don't see a disruption in service based off of that prevail on us as it's feeding across in that geodiverse.
Yeah, I get it. I'll make sure that the ECATS folks follow up.
Well, thank you, Rich. The next one, I believe, can be closed. We were trying to figure out what email address we or you would need to send address changes to. I did follow up internally on that. There's an email distribution list that is right here in the notes. If you guys do have email address changes, that's where they go. This was around some questions as to whether or not it should go to a Brightspeed address or not. And it is that lumen-911@lumen.com. That goes to Cindy Rowland and Missy Greer, and they will make all those changes for you. The dialable numbers, this is ongoing. I'm back to being copied on the emails, so thank you for that. And I know there's some direct communication between RNOC and Wesco. They've been good about communicating back and forth, but this is one that is still under investigation. And then the last one, I'm going to go ahead and move off as well. Jeff had responded to you guys that he would go back and see if there was some type of report or tool available today that would help determine SIP session requirements per PSAP. And right now there isn't. There are a few things that people can look at within the portal that kind of monitors your call volume, and you can look at and kind of determine on your own where you might need to be. But as of today, there's not just a report that we can hand over and say, okay, this is something that, you would need for your session requirements. It's still to be determined by the PSAP.
Alex, go ahead.
Yeah, Tracy, just to clarify on that dialable numbers one, I was waiting on contact info from you to who to send call examples for that to. The ones that you're seeing are for Delta's issue that I don't see on this tracker anymore. And I don't believe I saw Chris here, either Chris Stewart, to talk about that. But David Boss at Lumen has been communicating back with us on the Delta issue, but we did have a concern we're waiting to hear back from about the calls being, a lot of them are, almost half of them are being hung up before they actually finish the alternate route to Wesco. So that was a concern for Delta, and we were just waiting to hear back on if there's something in the alternate route process from timeout that might be causing callers to think that their connection is getting disconnected and hang up before they actually finish the alternate route to be answered at Wesco. So
okay,
those were just two items that hadn't heard back from and was looking for an update.
So let me go back through my emails, Alex, because I thought that RNOC had assigned somebody to the Wesco. And it might be the same person as was helping you with Delta, but let me go back and see who that might be, and I'll send a update to the latest email.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You bet. I'll include everybody on it, but I'm fairly certain it was assigned to a NOC technician on our side.
Jennifer, go ahead.
Thanks, Kathy. Tracy, can we add the Delta issue to the tracker?
Yes, I have it up right now, so let me. I think it's probably just below on the close, so I'll bring it back up.
Thank you.
Yep.
And is it my understanding that that's still actively being worked on?
Yes, we continue to get some examples. Well, when I say we, the NOC continues to get some examples, and they're working with Intrado and working internally I haven't heard a resolution on it, but they are still getting examples and looking into them.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So aside from either resurrecting the Delta one that might have gotten pushed to the bottom of the sheet here, or adding it back into the sheet, do you guys have any more, any new items that should be added to the issue tracker that you need us to be working on between now and next time?
Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is necessarily an ESInet group thing, but we had some questions about when reporting a local line issue. We were getting directed by Lumen E911 that like a customer would need to call in the repair. We got the same from Intrado, and then also CenturyLink's like tech support website said that. Basically, the nuts and bolts of it is a line is connecting itself to 911, and dispatchers answer it. It's static. They struggle to disconnect the call, and they don't have any contact with the RP on the other side, and it kind of is a frequent recurring issue. But we're not finding a way to get the issue looked into and resolved from any of the regular avenues of reporting a DR through 911 net to Intrado, or calling in a repair ticket to Lumen 911 or CenturyLink. So,
Alex,
So-
Alex,
Go ahead.
this is Matt. Alex, is this the one where we're being told that the phone line customer has to submit a ticket to get this fixed, yet there is no phone line customer in this case?
yeah, that's correct. It's out of San Miguel County.
Yeah, so there's no
Right area.
customer, the line is not live, there's no alley record, there's no other such thing. So there's no customer to submit a ticket, but we're being told the customer has to submit a ticket.
So the phone number, does that belong to somebody?
There's an alley. There's an alley record for it that shows a customer, but the local addressing authority and 911 coordinator in San Miguel County aren't able to contact that person, show no record of them still living there. They think it's a defunct line, but we don't have any way of getting somebody to look into it based on what we're being told by Lumen, Intrado, and CenturyLink.
So normally what I do with those, when they come out of a Lumen or CenturyLink central office, is just have the central office tech pull the bug, and that gets rid of it. If someone actually is using that line, they'll call in a repair. I kind of keep an eye out for that. But I do run into those once in a while, where we can't get a hold of anyone at the from the end where the call seems to be coming from. So I'm not sure. Alexander, did you include me in any of that communication yet?
I did, yeah. I
saw
sent that to you and Carolyn Jones at Intrado, who's our tech on the Intrado side that looks into line alley issues.
Okay, I'm looking for that now.
So I will add that to the tracker too, just so we don't lose track of it. But it sounds
Explain to you what happens. So if there's a dial tone out there, and we have soft dial tone still. So if there's an apartment building with a cable going into a conduit, and the conduit's got water, with these cold temperatures, the conduits freeze and you get a partial short. We still are compatible to dial pulse. So we see a bunch of opens and closes, a bunch of like, if you were to walk up to your phone and just, if you have a landline and just keep hitting the hook switch, it'll eventually go to 911. And that's kind of a default behavior. And that's what's happening, I presume. Just so that you know, it doesn't mean that they're actually calling it. It may not even be a live address. That happens, and with these old soft dial tones that we used to use, I mean, landlines are going away, so I don't even know if they're using them anymore. But that's kind of the situation that happens. In the old days, we used to use that to locate our bad cables. Right. I say that jokingly, but that's why it gets a compression short.
Mm-hmm.
That's the cold weather that causes a lot of those. And we might have been exposed to cold weather recently.
Maybe.
Okay, I Alexander, I responded to that email from Monday, and I will get you an update today. I just want to make sure I know where this number works out of, and I'll get you a plan. But yeah, I agree. There's nothing else that you guys can do. So I'll take it from here.
So
Thank you so much, Andrew.
That's why I asked if it was a known actual customer. So it could be a left in from a soft dial tone. And if they pull the bugs, there's nobody out of service if it's not really being used. I just wanted to assure you that that's just how we used to do it. And like I said, I haven't been in the field forever, so I don't know if we still use soft dial tone, but that's what used to happen before us when we had real E911 everywhere and real landlines.
Thanks, Kevin. So again, I'll add that to this chart, bring the Delta one back up, and anything else? Okay.
Okay, it looks like we did the issues tracker, so new tariff amount March 1st, Tracy.
Looks like you
And
got stuck with me.
yeah, hang on just one second. Jennifer, I have to do something. We've got an issue at one of the PSAPs. Can you take it for a minute?
No problem.
Thank you.
Go ahead,
Awesome.
Tracy.
All right, cool. I'm going to kind of tie these next few together because they're all going to have something to do with one another. I think everyone's aware of the new tariff that has come into play. Kathy has a few more details on it, but we actually have the additional billing that's going to begin on March 1st. We just wanted to remind all of you that it will be on your next bill. And with that, I know everyone has gotten used to utilizing this, Kathy, for questions around their billing. But over the next, I don't know, several weeks or months, Kathy, we do have a new contact for the state of Colorado that I believe her and Kathy are going to work together for a little while. And then eventually Kathy is going to move to another state. So I don't know, Kathy, if you want to add anything or introduce her.
Sure. I hope everyone can hear me. I had to go from my headset set to my computer.
I can hear you.
Oh, great. Okay. So yes, as Tracy mentioned, we're doing some account assignment changes, unfortunately, and we're moving around the support for the different states. So it's not that I asked to be taken from Colorado. I didn't want to be taken from Colorado, but they don't ask me. So I will continue to be on the team, and I'll be involved as long as necessary to get Sharon comfortable with supporting the state. We'll send her contact information out to the community, probably, I guess, in a group email, but continue to copy me on all emails during the transition. And again, I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here to assist. But just a little bit about Sharon. Sharon Smith she's a seasoned customer engagement advocate. She's been with Lumen for 15 years. She started with our public safety team about the same time I did 3 years ago. But she has the added experience and insight as from being a 911 PSAP dispatcher in Ashland County, Ohio for 6.5 years. So she's got that inside perspective that can be helpful at times. Sharon, if you want to come off mute and say hello. Okay, she may not be able to at this time. But, and before I relinquish the mic, I do want to recap what Tracy mentioned as far as the new tariff. It's tariff decision C240688. We will be adding the network improvement cost of $310.86 per session. That'll be effective 3/1. That is a 2-year charge. So after 2 years, it will go away. But you're going to see a charge on your invoice next month called Colorado BES Network Improvement for $310.86 per session. And then in addition, I'll go ahead and put the bug out there that the ESInet MRC for what we've been billing forever is going to increase from $752.22 to $776.47. That's effective June 1st. So that's a $24.25 per session increase effective June 1st.
And hello, sorry, I just finally got it off of mute.
Thanks, Sharon. Any questions?
Matt Gage has his hand up.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks. Just one follow-up comment. I don't think the charge is actually going to go away as was stated, but it would probably be adjusted to match further changes to the ongoing improvement plans.
Oh, Matt, thank you for that clarification. I guess that's a misunderstanding on my part. I apologize. This is
Sure, I just
confusing
didn't want
these two different charge changes. Right.
Yeah, so there's for quite some time we should probably all expect that there will be ongoing improvement charges. It's just that every 2 years or so they will be adjusted as the plan mitigation projects plans and their costs are completed and adjusted for new projects.
Great. Thank you for that clarification. And I do apologize.
No problem. And also to clarify further, that monthly recurring cost increase that Kathy referenced is incorporating the new monthly recurring cost for last mile diversity that would start on June 1st.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy.
That's all I've got. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathy, and thanks for your work with Colorado. We will miss you and we welcome Sharon. Tracy, you're still up.
Yay, still me. So new year, new list, which already is outdated because I think as far as your contact list goes, Kathy is still on there. So I will update that with Sharon and her contact information. But I provided Jennifer and Kathy with just kind of an updated sheet that explains who your contact is for sales, who your engineering contact is. There it is. Customer engagement, like I mentioned, I'll update Kathy's information with Sharon's. You've got your engineering group on here. Kevin talked a little while ago. Myself for program management. And then, of course, Andrew is still on board with us as far as the service assurance goes. The second of this, a lot of you have this already, but it's the Lumen Network Repair contact information there on the right. It's going to give you the different phone numbers to contact for any issues that you may have. So, internally, you've got your account team, but any external work, we have folks available for the 24/7 as well. So I will update that with Sharon's information and send you guys a new copy.
Thanks, Tracy. And it's my understanding that these numbers are not necessarily public, so I hesitate to put them into the meeting folder for this meeting. However, I can send all of this out in the update email that I will send next week so that PSAPs will still have it. It's just not going to be in a public facing folder from our side, if that's okay.
Yep, that's perfect.
Great. Anybody have questions for Tracy on that? All right. Hold on, I tried to share the agenda, instead stopped sharing. So I'm working on one screen today instead of 3, so bear with me. We already talked about ECAT's implementation. Is Kathy back to update on the strategic plan?
I can pop back in. I'm so sorry, you guys. We've got just got some stuff going on. So yes, I can talk about the strategic plan. So we believe that we have completed the work on creating and updating a new strategic plan. We met a couple of weeks ago and we were able to get through everything. The new copy was sent out to the strategic plan committee, and then Jennifer, you sent it out to everybody yesterday, correct? In the group here?
I did.
Okay. And so everybody that's on this call or in this group should have a copy of that plan. We're pretty happy and excited. We tore it apart and built it back up. And so the plan is to give everybody a month to be able to review it, and then the plan is to vote on it next week or next month. Sorry, next month at the next ESInet users group meeting. I can't imagine everybody had a chance to look at the entire thing in the last 24 hours, but if you did and you have any questions, please feel free to ask. You can ask right now because I think most of the people that were on the committee are on this call. If not, Tim, go ahead.
Hey, thanks, Kathy. I did have a chance to look through this yesterday. I see a few things. Should there be a certain group of folks to send some comments to, or send them back to you? How would you like to receive those?
You can send them back to me, and then I can share them with the strategic plan committee.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Anybody else right now? Again, you have a month before we bring it forward to a vote or make changes or whatever we decide to do. But it's pretty exciting that we got this far. We worked on it for over a year, I believe. All right. No other questions. If anybody does have any questions in between now and the next meeting on that particular document, please send them to me. And I'm certainly happy to share them, with the committee so that we can give you correct response and input. Okay, I think the next thing we have is for Joe with latency issues on cloud-based phone solutions. Joe, are you still on?
I'm on. I'm trying to remember where this came from. I've had a lot on my plate lately. I think I was asking if there is still a forum where if this would be the forum to discuss those types of issues that aren't necessarily related to the ESInet, but to, performance of PSAP systems and different vendors. I know there used to be a group that was kind of PSAP director discussion group that I listened on a couple of calls. I haven't seen any of those scheduled lately. I may have just missed them, but is there a forum to discuss these type of issues, or would this be the forum?
That's a good question. Is anybody aware of a group or committee? Jennifer?
I know that Connie Johnson with the Resource Center has been working on holding monthly or bi-monthly PSAP director calls, and that might be a good place. I think, Joe, your specific question was just if anybody who is using a cloud-based phone solution has had latency issues. I think you were looking for people to contact you. And as well, I had a request from someone who wants to know if anybody has recently put out an RFP for a cloud-based phone solution, and if so, would you be willing to share as an example so they don't have to reinvent the wheel? So those were the two things, Joe, the one thing that you had wanted to talk about. And I think that, the ESInet users group could be a place to have that conversation, but I'm not sure about today because we do have a hard stop at 11 and we have a very full agenda. So that's up to you, Kathy.
Joe, are you all right waiting on that? Maybe
Yeah.
reaching out to Connie?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
And if people want to respond about whether or not they're having issues, they can just send it to my email address.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Joe. All right, the next thing we have, I saw Kimberly on. Is Kimberly still on?
I am.
Yes, she is. Hi, Kim. How are you?
Good.
Good. So Kimberly has some questions about last mile diversity. Just so everybody knows, these questions were sent to CenturyLink prior to this meeting. I'm not sure who's going to speak to this, so I'll just defer to you right now, Tracy, because your name's on a lot of stuff here. But if there's somebody else, just let us know.
And Kathy, just really quick, this wasn't questions, just from me when we talked about this at the last ESInet group.
Right.
Everyone felt like these would be great questions for the group to hear.
Yes.
So I think we're all interested in the answers. And if not,
Yes.
I can always just take these offline.
No, I think everybody needs to get answers and know this information. So yeah, I'm sorry, Kimberly. I didn't mean it to sound that way.
I would agree with Kimberly. I think it's going to impact, everyone with the upcoming project. I won't have the technical answers for you guys on this. This is something that is outside of my scope, but I can certainly, I've got a couple technical folks on the line. So if between Kevin, myself, and Andrew, and possibly Cindy, if we can't answer them, I can take some notes and get this back to Jeff.
Okay. I
Is this
thought
to respond to right now, or can we? I mean, I haven't seen this list, so I'd like the time to review it myself.
right. I think I sent it to Tracy and Jeff and Andrew.
And they will get it to me if they need me. So
Can you remind me when that was sent out? I'm going to look at it right now.
Sure. Just 1 second.
Okay. I do remember seeing some of these, and I forwarded it over to Jeff, but I knew he was traveling this week.
Yeah, I sent it to you guys on the 29th at my time, 3:19 in the afternoon.
Okay. So Kevin, Andrew, I don't know, Andrew, it looks like you're on it along with Jeff. Did you have a chance to look at any of this, or do I need to set something up internally? Because I haven't been a part of the conversation, and I don't know what was discussed last month.
Yeah, I think we'll need an internal call.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys are going to meet internally and come back with this for the March meeting?
If not before then, Kathy.
Okay.
If we can pull together some answers prior to that, I think sooner is better than later for you guys on this one.
Okay. All right, well, then we will move on. The next thing I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention is the FCC order and report. And I had received an email, excuse me, from Matt Gage. Thank you very much, Matt. He had a chance to review the FCC fact sheet. And one of the questions that arose the first time we talked about this order was the definition of a 911 authority. And the new fact sheet, which, so everybody knows, is 152 pages long, does define the 911 authority as a state, territorial, regional, tribal, or local government entity responsible for 911 emergency telephone service being provided. So I just wanted to make sure everybody had that information, because that was a question that came up when we first started talking about the new FCC order and report. And Matt, I know you're on. Do you want to add anything to that?
No, I would encourage people to look at that FCC fact sheet, which I think the first page or few pages are the fact sheet, and then most of the rest of that 150 some pages is the order itself. So you don't have to wade through the whole thing, but do look at the first few pages where they effectively summarize it. And there's a footnote in there which contains that definition, and then also within the order itself, that definition is specifically stated, and is the citation for that footnote.
Thanks, Matt. Actually, the footnote, it's footnote number 2 on page 3, and then in paragraphs 48 through 50 on pages 28 and 29.
I think the simplest way to think about this, at least based on this fact sheet, reading through it, the 911 authority is kind of like the 911 authority was from back when we submitted wireless phase 1 and 2 requests for that migration.
All right. Anybody have any questions on that? Or if anybody needs that fact sheet, then let me know, or I can just send it out to this group so that everybody can see it. Kimberly.
Not so much questions, but I wonder if we don't want to pull together a meeting with the folks on this call or in another format to just really spend some time with that fact sheet and try to digest it and then apply it to what it may mean for Colorado. There is so much information in there, and I think we have an opportunity, and I think we need to get our arms around it so we can track it, but I think we need to take some time to do that. So my recommendation is we call maybe a special meeting with just that as the topic and deep dive.
Sounds good. Go ahead, Matt.
I agree with that, because on this one especially, I think none of we, the 911 authorities, should be moving on this before our BESP and their contractor are ready to go for that. I mean, it puts obligations on the OSPs, but the BESP and their contractor also have to be ready. And so we probably need to do this in concert with them as well.
Yeah, man. If we're talking about what I think we are, which is the kind of staged approach with the OSP ingress being basic IP and then I3, there is a dependency on the readiness of the PSAP and the solution for the PSAP to accept that. PSAP, I believe, it has to be I3 ready. And at this point, that's all the work we're going through to try to get I3 capable.
Yeah, so Rich, this is the FCC's report and order for delivery in SIP in phase 1, and then delivery in SIP with additional data and formatting in phase 2.
Yeah, and I think there are requirements that the PSAP itself is on a solution that can support I3. I'll go back into it. For now, we're not in Colorado. The solution 100% is capable, and the same solution that's deployed in other states that is I3 is supporting them. So states like that could go forward and request Colorado,
Definitely.
we're not yet.
Yeah. And
Colorado, yeah, go ahead.
no, sorry. The key point I think you're alluding to, Rich, is that the FCC says that such SIP phase 1 and 2 requests have to be valid requests, meaning we and our basic emergency service vendor have to have our ducks in a row prior to us making these requests to the OSPs.
Correct. And we, as your vendor, and Toronto Lumen, will work with you to do those validations. We spoke with the FCC, and Toronto did specifically, kind of trying to scope what this was going to look like about a year and a half ago. And they followed most of our recommendations. There's a couple where we're kind of shaking our hands a little bit, but most of it they followed. And again, one of those would be work with your vendor first before you put out, all these OSP requests. Make sure that the vendor is capable. And just my 3 on there is an option, and then again, technically we're capable now. We just have to make it so that the PSEPs can move forward with that, and that's what we need.
Yeah, so I think we're running out of time here, but I agree with Kimberly's idea of a separate user group meeting that's just focused on this.
Yeah, I'll be happy to set up a special meeting. I'll figure out a date and time and we'll send it out to everybody. And then we can just talk about this only. So that's probably a good idea. Joe, go ahead.
If you're going to set up that kind of meeting, we might want to inquire with the FCC if they make somebody available with the Homeland Safety Bureau. I used to represent a nationwide association, and the bureau that was responsible for their area of interest would always send like 3 or 4 people to their national convention or annual convention. And so I think to have somebody get on a call meeting like this, we should be able to get somebody from the Bureau.
Okay. Sounds good. I will look into that and I will work with Jennifer to figure out a date to send out. Kimberly, go ahead.
Kathy, I can take that FCC contact, reach out if you would like. I've got a contact.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, so once we get the date and time set up, I can reach out to him and see if he would be available or who he would recommend.
Okay. Thanks, Kimberly.
You're welcome.
All right. And we got about 5 minutes left. I hate to rush it, but we do have the hard stop. Jennifer, you're up next.
I will skip this topic in favor of chair and vice chair elections.
Okay. So it is the start of a new year. Actually, we'll be going on month 3. And I brought it up a couple of times. Is anybody interested in being the chair or the vice chair for the ESInet users group?
So Kathy, I know that you've served for a couple of years in a row, and I also know that you're taking on additional responsibilities. So if you're looking for somebody else to take it on, I would like to nominate Steve Silverman with Boulder County SO and throw him firmly under the bus. And I haven't mentioned that to him at all. So if you can block him from going off mute, that would be great.
Well, that sounds good. As I said before, I'm happy to take the vice chair position because I have been doing this for a couple of years. But I think before we do anything, I don't know, is Steve, is he on? I didn't even see. I'm sorry.
I am, and
Steve.
You didn't block my mute.
No. So Steve, what are your thoughts? Do you accept that nomination?
I am newer to the group, and if the group doesn't mind a rookie, I'm happy to assist. Patty and Joe are here on a regular basis representing Bretza, and I've been here for a little while, but I'm open to assisting.
No better way to learn.
Yep. Yeah, I found that out. Okay, Jennifer, where do we go with that? Do we take a vote or what do we do?
I believe Kimberly made a nomination, so we need a second and then a vote.
Do we have a second? Thanks, Jeff. Okay, and I'll make this the easier way. Anybody who is not in favor of Steve Silberman being the chair of the ESInet users group, please say aye.
Do I get to say that?
No. You can, but it sounds like you'd be outvoted. So I'm just kidding. Steve, if you're all right with it, that'd be great. I can stay as the vice chair and we can certainly have, I can get you caught up and we can have some conversations if you're good with that.
So Kathy, to be perfectly clear on the points of order, do we have a nomination for Kathy as vice chair?
Oh, sorry, everybody.
I'll nominate Kathy for vice chair.
Matt seconds.
I do have a quick question. I'm not an official voting member. That sits with Patty. I want to make sure that that isn't a conflict or there aren't issues with that when it comes to the rules of this group.
In the interest of time, I'm happy to research that offline. I do have to close this meeting in about 1 minute.
Sounds good.
Okay, so Jennifer will research that, make sure it's not a conflict of interest. And then if you could, Jennifer, once you find out, send that out to myself and Steve, that'd be great.
Will do.
All right. Last thing, sorry, I know I'm rushing it. Public comment. Any non-voting members are welcome to provide comments. Do we have any? Hearing none, I'm going to call for the adjournment at 10:59. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Thanks all.
Take care, everyone.